journalist on some known radio station somewhere in Asalandown who did not take their time to check through the facts. I know they have their archives and they could have gone there, dig up for facts. The fact that the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of what Martin Amidu sought from the court does not in any way, as it is, stain or dent the image of the late President Mills for sacking or firing, if you like, Martin Amidu for misconduct. The argument still remains, and indeed it is forever valid, that his dismissal has nothing to do with the case that he was pursuing on behalf of the state, then as an Attorney General at the court. It was entirely on different grounds, and since press release has come out to support that assertion that indeed he conducted himself in a manner not deserving of a Minister of State towards the CEO of the corporate Ghana. And so this attempt to say because he has won and therefore the NDC government was not supporting him, they are entirely different. And indeed, in case you do not know, President Mills instructed him, documents are available to support this assertion, that he should go to court and do exactly what he did. That the thing did not go through Parliament and the matters that came afterwards. So it is inconsistency with the policy or with the agenda pursued by the late president that Martin Amidu did what he did. He did not innovate any grounds to go to court. He only acted on what he was instructed to do. So the distinction must be made clear. Also, I have been informed that some missing box has been found from Atugue's office as to whether or not the missing box was the same that was found, or some people clandestinely attempted to switch the box and increase the quantity of the pink sheet. I don't know, but suspicion is very rife, and indeed it is most unfortunate that at every instant that we attempt to count or audit this pink sheet, very, very funny things happen from 24 to 31, now from 23 to 24, and the fourth box is very questionable. I have guests in my studio, sorry. They will help me to do justice to this topic. They have more. I would urge you to stay tuned and do not change the dial. This is Majority Caucus Live with me, Alida. I would end the studio. I have been joined in the studio by lawyer Chumberima of the NDC legal team at my extreme left. Also in the studio is the member of the government communication team, Alhaji Alidu Aruna. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here.
Thank you.
I am very appalled about this development. I think that it's our time people get the facts right. Martin Amidu is now being acclaimed a hero. The MPP have found a new hero, if you like, a sunlight in their campaign, and that this is the person they would die for. Martin Amidu is their hero. He has opened their eyes, pulled the wool over their eyes. Lawyer, did Martin Amidu do anything different that the Attorney General was supposed to have done on behalf of the state?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to our viewers and listeners. Like you rightly pointed, President Mills of blessed memory is the hero in this matter. A little background to this Waterville, Yoko, Woyomi, all this issue. There's a contract or a supposed contract to rehabilitate stadia in the country. Now we have our Public Procurement Act. Tendering process was initiated, and then companies tendered. And Waterville came up, being selected to do the project. Now, whilst due diligence was being done by the various ministries, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, and then the Local Organizing Committee,
the LOC,
from where
But before you move, let me just point out this correction. Ministry of Youth and Education was combined, I think, under the MPP.
Yes.
So it was combined.
Exactly.
Education and youth.
Education and youth. Thank you for that correction. Now, whilst due diligence was being done, President Kufuor emerges from nowhere, goes to cabinet and say, cancel all the tendering process that you are going through, and then I have found Shanghai Construction Limited, who says they will put up the stadia. Now, Osafumafo comes in and say the right way to go is by the Public Procurement Act. The process has been initiated. We are far behind time. So if we cancel this process, we are going to have ourselves to blame. In fact, he used the fact that we should marshal local and international forces to fight the repercussions that will come. Because in his view, it was an illegality. It was wrongful. Because they have gone far with the tendering process. Now, from nowhere, an MOU is agreed between the government of Ghana, the then Kufuor's government, and Waterville to go onto site and start work pending a written contract. Okay, to be signed for the work to be done. So when there was an MOU, that wasn't the original contract for the works. But the MOU says that you go to the field, start work, whilst we go through the contract itself and get it signed. But is that the proper thing to do? Indeed. If we start talking about proper things here, I will come to even how the stadium was built. And you see that we threw caution to the wind right from day one. What is this MOU about? You must go into contract with a person either to build or not to build. So the tendering process should have been exhausted. They wanted to know whether Waterville could have the financial support to put up the stadium. And that was the point where the government also gives an MOU that go ahead and then begin work whilst we prepare the contract proper. The final contract. You see? Now they go ahead, start work at the Accra Sports Stadium and the Kumasi Sports Stadium and Elwak. They did some demolition works, waiting for the contract to be what? Signed. The main contract for the works. Well, you could say that due to time and urgency for the event, the MOU was not so bad at that stage. Because going through parliamentary approval and all will take time. So yes, there can be some commitment that you start work, but we are trying to get the parliamentary approval. But they started work, they didn't get anywhere, and then the contract or the MOU that enabled them to go on the field or onto the ground to work was abrogated and terminated. Waterville writes to the government to say that what you are doing is illegal as per your own procurement laws. Because in the procurement process, you get to a certain position, it's irreversible by both sides. So they wrote, and then the Kufuor government stayed their work, allowed them to continue, and at one time used all the force that it could marshal to stop them. And if you remember, they even sent national security policemen to go to Accra Sports Stadium to get them out from the site. Because Shanghai construction was coming in on Kufuor's sole instructions. So Waterville said, fine, we will go, but we won't just go away. We've done some work.
Actual work.
We've done actual work. So pay us for the actual work. Pay us for loss of profits that we would have made if you had completed the projects. And then they also called for interest. Okay. Now, the Kufuor government, knowing the wrongful act that it perpetrated, appointed a company to assess the actual work that has been done by Waterville.
Okay.
The company came out with a value. And then Waterville also claimed loss of profits and all. So they all sat down and then agreed with Waterville to pay them 25 million euros. So that is where the debt itself came from.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Mm. All these things were done behind Parliament.
No
even though we have international contract, that was a clear international contract there. But everything was done behind Parliament. I believe that if the procurement process had gone through, it would have ended up in Parliament for approval. Because these contracts do not just go to Parliament. They go through due diligence. They appoint people from one state to the other to look into the contract. And when it is firmed, it now goes to Parliament. And then Parliament approves.
Okay.
It was due to the Kufuor's abrogation of the contract. That is where...
With complete disregard to the procurement law.
The law.
Brought in Chinese
where we had a problem.
Company.
Now...
briefly, so that we can...
So the 25 million euros was debt that the Kufuor government, accrued for the country. And out of that, they paid 11 million euros.
The NPP government.
The NPP government paid 11 million euros to Waterville. Remaining about 9 point something. In Ghana City, they paid in Ghana City. Then the contract was awarded to Shanghai Construction without parliamentary approval, without the Procurement Act.
2 violations, serious violations.
So some of us, we are questioning what happens now that the Supreme Court has ruled, and literally so to say that it was an international contract, it needed parliamentary approval. So all that Waterville did, actual or prospective, comes to now
null and void.
What are we saying about the Shanghai construction job, the stadium that they put up in Tamale and Takoradi, without parliamentary approval? So
it is the same rule applies to them, and they must be seen to be making payment back to
these are big questions that we are saying, because Waterville did some work, actual work,
and it was paid,
evaluated, and then payment was made.
Okay,
you understand it? So if all those payments, Waterville is being asked
to refund,
pay back, to refund all those payments, even for the actual work done, then what are we talking about? Shanghai construction?
Shanghai should equally do same. I'll come back to you so you find answers to that. Alhaji, I don't know what the victory of Martin Amidu means to you, but for me, I do not think that this attempt to use that as a license to bastardize the government of the NDC has any solid grounding. I think it's a shame, really, for anybody to attempt to do that, because the foundation of this whole crusade led by Martin Amidu was precipitated based on the guidelines and directive specifics given to him by the late President Mills.
Well, thank you very much, and let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and those who are listening to us through the multi-channels. Indeed, I think that sometimes when I sit and listen to some of the arguments, particularly advanced by our opponent, it surprises me, and I say it as an attempt to cover up their deed. And certainly that can explain why they seem to be hyping up and creating hue out of Martin Amidu. Indeed, I recall when His Excellency, the late President, instructed that Iroko should go into the issues of judgment debt to ascertain the circumstances that led to this country incurring or going into some of these difficulties and challenges as far as payment of judgment debt are concerned. And indeed, the same people chastised the former president, claiming that Iroko doesn't have that locus and that the Iroko is a political arms of government, etc. You recall that argument. If you go into the interim report presented to His Excellency, the late president, and indeed, it's important to mention this point, that His Excellency, when he directed the Iroko to investigate and ascertain not only the Woyome issue, but all judgment debts that were paid, so that we can have a better understanding and find ways of trying to avert the occurrence of such development in our country. At the time that those directives was given to Iroko, Iroko started the work. The NPP claimed that no, he doesn't have the locals, etc. And why is His Excellency the President saying that he wanted to know those who caused the problem, and that why is he not actually looking at those who engage in payment and etc. Now, you cannot resolve a problem without understanding the root cause of those problems.
Indeed.
And in the wisdom of the late president, because he wants to actually have a lasting solution to this phenomenon of judgment debt, he decided that no, let's understand it so that we can then be able to prescribe antidote to those problems. Now, you take the Iroko report. The Iroko gave actually a history of what actually happened. Okay. All the companies that bidded for those contracts, etc., and what transpired. My difficulty really is that they have failed to go into the content of the Iroko report and educate themselves as to the findings of the Iroko report vis-a-vis these issues of Waterville. It was when His Excellency the President directed that after the investigation, don't bring the report to me, just disclose it to the general public. Let the public know the content of the report.
There's no going to be any white paper
because there's no way that government, the intention of government is not to actually shield anybody, because we want to actually provide a lasting solution to some of these problems. Now, let me make this point clear. The MPP, under the 8-year period that they served this country, we've never heard of judgment debt. It does not mean that they have not paid judgment debt.
Okay.
It was an avenue where they use quietly to make their own monies. And that can actually be explained by the kind of pronouncement that seems to be coming from them, because it is an experienced people who have the experience to do with judgment debt that they are speaking about.
They think NDC
so they always assume that because we are not there, those who are there may be doing the same thing that we did whilst in office. You understand my point?
Absolutely.
Now, I find it extremely difficult to appreciate, in as much as all of us think that the states, indeed, the resources of the state has to be protected by every citizen. And all of us have a responsibility to ensure that it is the state's resources is used for the benefit of the people. It's also important to recognize that when you terminate a contract between two parties, if you are a party to a contract and you terminate it, there are repercussions.
Absolutely.
There are penalties that you have to pay. And therefore, we have to, as a country, sit and ask the questions that what went wrong? Who are those behind termination of the contract? Have they actually respected the rules and regulations governing award of contract, etc.? And I think that this pronouncement, if I were MPP person, I would begin to be crying and weeping. I would sit in my room quietly and be crying. That because it is a huge revelation of their conduct in office, telling the people of this country that they have not actually protected the general interest and collective interest of our people. Because if you decide to actually hand over a contract, in the course of it, and let me tell you, I'm going to say it without any fear of a contradiction.
Certainly not.
That the MPP, I am saying it on authority, that whilst in power, they deliberately engage people in terms of contract and terminate it anyhow. And that is the means that they make their monies. Okay. I am saying it on authority. That is actually what happened. So if you sit behind and you listen to them speaking, you ask yourself, were they speaking out of experience? or they were just only making their own noise, etc. They were speaking out of experience because they were there, they benefited out of those things. The government of Professor Mills, for that matter the NDC government, actually promised the people of this country to run an open and transparent government. When we assumed office, this government decided to actually, as part of his budget, mention issues of judgment debt.
Yes.
Assuming this government indeed want to use that place to exploit the resources of this country for personal or individual benefit, they wouldn't have put it in the budget. Just as the 8-year mandate period of MPP, they've never even mentioned it.
But they will pay.
But yet they have paid series of judgment debt in this country. Even on the 7th of December, January, as His Excellency the President was being sworn in, they were paying judgment, the checks were already signed, etc. So this government has to be commended because for bringing out this issue publicly, and it has now become a public issue that people are contributing in order to be able to.
Let me just ask you one question that everybody seems to be asking: is Martin Amidu a hero? Do you think he's a hero?
It is. It is a bit difficult, and you have to actually tread cautiously, particularly with the way people look at these things. You have a situation where Martin Amidu was appointed under the late president as an Attorney General. For one good year, this issue has been on the table because, as my brother has actually narrated the development, what occurred under the MPP. He assumed office and saw all these documents in front of him until this issue of Oyome came up, when His Excellency the President actually directed that there should be an investigation to ascertain what actually went wrong. Martin Amidu was instructed specifically based on the report of the Iroko that go back to court, retrieve. In fact, the directive by his president was even given to Betty Modi Disu. Go back, go to the court, retrieve all monies paid wrongly to the undeserving companies.
Okay.
These were specific, and there are evidence to prove that His Excellency the President actually gave those directives. Then he inherited that particular move in court. He did not do anything until he had a problem with government. He decided to take up the matter as an individual. Even that, the Attorney General did not stay back and say that this is an individual who is pursuing these things, because the Attorney General also realized that it is an issue of national interest. Therefore, they facilitate most of his
okay, so the
current Attorney General facilitated most of the things that happened in terms of
they actually joined.
They actually joined in court in respect of
for some political reason that has been left out.
Exactly. So that is why the Attorney General office has to come out and clarify this matter so that at least people will be clear. And I know if it is not true, Martin Amidu would himself come out to actually debunk that. And I'm saying that indeed evidence, because when you go to the court, it is a matter of record.
Yeah.
So those records will be there,
whether
Attorney is part of it or not. But it's important to mention this point that
briefly
they keep saying that he was sacked because he wanted to uncover the truth and he wanted to prosecute people who. You see, when you are a cabinet minister and you have sworn an oath to protect certain basic and fundamental information regarding what transpired, it will not be fair or right for a cabinet minister to go public accusing another cabinet minister when you have the facts without presenting to the appointing authority. So people are confused, saying that it was because he wanted to actually go and prosecute. That's why. No. In response to a publication by a newspaper, he issued a statement making a serious allegation against another cabinet minister. And that by itself is misconduct, because a cabinet minister clearly cannot do that. You can't afford to do that. If you have any difficulties and you suspect wrongdoing by a colleague of yours,
as an attorney
general, you go to cabinet, sit with the cabinet members, point out that to the appointing authority, who is the president, that A, B, C, D. You don't go public with that. If you are responding to a newspaper publication which does not have any link with government, he is an individual operating his newspaper, and he looked at your conduct, decided to make a publication against you. In responding to that publication, decided to make a huge allegation against a cabinet minister, and you think that that is acceptable? Unlike under MPP, when John Ajekum Kufuor indicated that he will not go public
Yeah.
Do you know the reason why he made that point?
And that
it has the potential of destroying his government, and therefore he will not go. So if there's any allegations of wrongdoing against any of my ministers, I'll call them into my office, talk to them. But I will not go public on radio to say that I have said this, I have said that to him. That is the conduct, that is the attitude that somebody who declares zero tolerance for corruption in our country, that is the kind of attitude that he should.
Let me come to you quickly so we can wrap up on this issue.
Just to add a little to whether Martin Amidu is a hero or not. In one sense, he's a hero. He's a fighter because left to him when he was fired, not for this fighting this cause. If he was someone, he would have just left. You know, you wouldn't have cared anymore. But for him to have persisted, to say that you go on with the instruction that was given by Professor Mills, that he should do this, and finding the locus as a citizen vigilante, which was accepted by the court to prosecute the matter. Yes, in that sense, he is a hero because even finding the locus would have been difficult for somebody. Okay. So somebody might have just sat back saying that, look, I had a locus because I was Attorney General. Now that I am not Attorney General, how do I even go to court to fight the matter? So in that sense, yes, he is a hero. But the person who caused it, who made all these things come out, said, go and fight it. Go and take back the money. It does not belong to them. It's Professor Mills, to whom we must give, the praise. Now, you ask yourself whether or not this matter would have come to this end without Martin Amidu. I'll tell you yes. It was an instruction to Betty Mould that was passed to Martin Amidu. So it would have definitely passed to the next Attorney General. You get it? So this matter was something that this conclusion would have come one way or the other. But because we are celebrating him or we are mentioning him because he decided to fight it on, even though he was not in government.
Let me chip in this. I needed clarification on this. The argument has always been that, hey, to what extent should cabinet ministers sacrifice the interests of the nation towards upholding their so-called oath of secrecy? But I know, as part of the Constitution, even though it may be captured in the schedules, at the latter part of the Constitution, oaths of secrecy have constitutional values. They are not taken as an invitation to come and have party. And so it is also a constitutional responsibility to keep cabinet information confidential.
Anytime you break that oath, you are liable for removal, particularly even His Excellency the President. Okay. When if you swear by the Constitution, to protect the Constitution, and you decide to violate it. In fact, the Constitution is clear about it. If you violate any of that, you are likely to suffer some kind of penalty.
The Martin Amidu's accusation of fellow ministers and the cabinet as a whole, if there was substance, Professor Mills would have taken action.
What the president wanted actually was evidence.
Was evidence. Said, look, you have made these allegations. They were sweeping allegations. Okay, so he said, look, come and substantiate the allegations and let me see what I have to do. Because yes, you are claiming you have a case.
And he declined.
And when he went before the president, he was rather, he put out a behavior which we are told
unministerial.
Exactly.
And unbefitting of a member of cabinet. We're still here. The discussion will continue when we come back from this short commercial break. My lady, welcome back to the show. This is Majority Caucus. In case you just tuning in, we are live on your multi TV, also live across the world. We are also live at Taksim Square in Turkey, where demonstration currently is ongoing amidst water cannons and tear gas. We are live on their iPads and co. Anytime you observe Addison going off gear, you will realize that desperation indeed has set in, and it couldn't be more unfortunate than a circumstance where we have witnessed Addison and his cross-examination putting it to the EC boss, Afarijan, that he's causing financial loss to the state. I thought that was a very low blow, an action that gives yet the strongest indication of a lawyer who has lost touch with his own rhythm. And I wasn't surprised that one of the justices immediately intervened by instructing Afarijan not to answer that rather, ridiculous question, because it has no place in the ongoing petition. My lawyers will tell you more about this court case, about the new fund box containing the pink sheet. Lawyer Chumberma, a new pink sheet, a box has been found. I have worries as I started the program in saying, anytime we make an attempt to audit, funny things do occur. This time it's a missing box containing pink sheet. And you know what is interesting? It is the same 24 boxes that the NDC, the President's Council, the EC have all claimed that they were served with 24 boxes. You know that. And in this case, it looks like Atogubes is 24, but the 24th one happens to, I don't know really what is happening in that judiciary. I think it is about time that some people must be made to answer some serious questions.
You are right on the dot. You see, but a point of correction.
Okay.
I've seen Daily Guide put out there that a missing box has been found, and that when they count that missing box, the Atogubes pink sheet, which is it's alleged to be 9,800, will now come up to the 11,000 or whatever they are talking about. My brother, when the correct position is that the count is over.
Okay.
KPMG is putting together a report.
But let me just state for the records, Daily Guide is a paper that this platform does not regard at all. So
okay, some of our viewers may have read it, and therefore they need to.
We don't regard
the count at all. Is over. There's nothing like a missing box.
Okay.
Boxes have been taken from Atogubes' office. Count of pink sheets have been done, with representatives of the petitioners and the respondents attending. Count is over. A report is being done. So nobody should make the mistake to say, oh, there is going to be a new count and whatever.
Okay.
The case cannot drag forever.
It must come to an end.
Definite times have been given, and KPMG must meet the time. Okay. Now, if you go to court with you file your evidence, in this case your pink sheets, we have 9 sitting judges, the court making 10, 3 respondents making 13. Therefore, when you are submitting any document, you are tendering any document to the court, you must have 14 of them.
Okay. 1
is received, stamped by the registrar and returned to you. The rest is distributed to the other persons. The 9 judges,
okay.
1 for the judiciary and 3 for the respondents.
Okay.
It presupposes that whatever is to be tendered must be the same for everybody.
Yeah.
So even the difference between what the court has and what Atogubes has is a big question mark already.
Okay.
There must not be any difference. If you want to tender a register and it is agreed, you must tender them in that 13-fold, okay, so that everybody who is in this matter will have the same set of evidence, okay, or documents before him.
But counsel, what will be the effect of all these irregularities in terms of counting and...
Indeed, the Supreme Court has relaxed its rules.
Okay.
But if you go to court saying that you have evidence covering 11,400, 800 and whatever, 138 or 848, and you have been issued with a receipt of 11,848, anything less, anything short could throw your case out. Technically, you could be out of court. But I don't know what the Supreme Court will decide in this matter, because they have relaxed the rules because of the sensitive nature of this matter. Now, who started the technicalities in this case? It was Philip Addison, who started raising objections one after the other in the court. So clearly, if today the pink sheets, which hitherto was nothing, I mean, Tony Lita just said, I need the 11,100, 400, whatever,
842
to traverse. That is all he wanted. I have 8,000. So give me the remaining pink sheets so that I can traverse them before I release the returns from the box. It was a fatal question.
Okay.
But Bawumia and his lawyers, Philip Addison, kept on saying that we have given you this, and therefore there is nothing to ask for anymore. Now it goes into credibility. Now it goes into fatality of the case before the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Because in order not to go back and forth, even if you have 13,900, the 11,000 that you are relying upon, who should do that work for you? It's not for the court.
Indeed.
It's for the lawyer
Could
to
this
do your
amount
work
to fraud?
and come. My brother,
deceit the court.
My brother, Chachu Chikata always had put to, and both Chachu Chikata and Tonita had put to Bawumia that the duplications, that the people that they filed that were not up to the number that they are claiming, it was deliberate to deceive the court. So it is now that deception is coming.
It's manifesting.
It's manifesting. And that is why they are free, because one way or the other, Chacho will prove to the court that this is the deception I was talking about. They just padded exercise sheets. I mean, they brought sheets,
just
any sheet to you to show you that they brought evidence. But before you, there is no evidence. They are claiming this, that. It is not there. Now, even with the 9,800 we are talking about, there are duplications in there. So if you take out the duplications,
they don't represent
the 11,138 police stations that they are talking about.
We have a serious problem.
And now you go on to do a press conference and say that we are no more relying on we can even rely on fewer pinches to topple the president.
Okay, but before I come to let me just announce the phone lines 0302 2117012. Keep the cost calm. Yeah, what is your observation about these irregularities in terms of missing boxes, missing pink sheets?
Listen, this is just fundamental and basic. In every electoral dispute, the party that feels that indeed they won the election but a wrong person has been declared would first of all make a request that the ballot boxes should be reopened and the ballots should be counted.
So recount.
Interestingly,
if the MPP
indeed were convinced that they've won this election, that should have been.
That is very true. Surprisingly, it wasn't.
They are quiet over that because they know very well that they did not win the election. Okay. But they thought that they would just take advantage of these administrative technicalities, etc., to actually be able to deny the people of this country their right.
Let me pick a call and then I'll come back to you. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Dad Alex, calling from Ataka.
You're on air, Dad Alex.
I thank you for the good work you guys are doing. And what I want to tell MCC and their forward is that they have no case even in court. They are even afraid of their own case that is presented to the Supreme Court. So they better withdraw their case and come and stay in the house and work towards 2016, which I know that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is going to win his hands down. So they should stop the noise making and then.
Okay, thank you very much.
Continue on our way.
Okay. I have Salifu on the line. Hello, Salifu.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Most welcome.
Yeah, on the issue of this judgment debt, you have made an allegation that NPP indeed paid some judgment debts during the regime.
That is not. Hold on.
Please.
No, hold on.
11 million.
No, hold on. Salifu.
Yes.
On this platform, it is not the status quo where you make allegations and then you go scot-free. We correct you even as you make your submissions. It is not an allegation. It is a fact. MPP paid over 11 million.
The company's name mentioned
Waterville, they paid 11 million.
By the company, you mean which company? Which company paid?
They paid 11 million euros to Waterville.
My brother,
Salifu, do you mean the recipient of the 11 million?
In the regime of NDC, we had ministers.
No, Salifu.
Out there.
Salifu, you need to listen. Salifu, you need to listen very well.
That those companies have the right to
Salifu,
is one of them.
Salifu, you will not call on this program. You will not call on this program and just say whatever you want. That is not grounded on fact. I am telling you that 11 million, in fact, over 11 million 900 and something was paid to Waterville. What else do you need to see? This is a fact. It's not an allegation. We don't have time to be churning out allegations.
An assessment was made on the work Waterville has done, and that was paid.
But of course, that's what we are saying. It's the same. Salifu, it's the same argument we are making. But you want to deny that MPP has made payments, but they did it. By the way, thank you very much. I am running out of time. I'm sure that we have more time next time that I'll open the phone lines much earlier so we can have more such discussions. I like it. Hello, Ayuba.
Hello, Ali. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Ali, please, I'm calling from Elibo. My name is Ayuba.
Go ahead.
Please, there is in the pink sheet. So if like in the, let's say next week Monday, when the pink sheet are counted in the front of the whole court, if they are not up to the number, can they throw the case out automatically? Because these are just waste of time of Ghanaian people and precious, resource of them.
Lawyer Chumberima would answer that question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Samari, hello, I have another caller.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello, Samari.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good.
Hello.
In fact, we really appreciate the kind of propaganda that you are carrying out to the listeners. It is a fact.
Hold on, Samari. We don't do propaganda on this. This is a serious platform. In case you haven't observed, it's a serious platform. No time for allegation and propaganda.
Nobody is disputing the fact that Waterville have not been paid any money. The money they were paid is the work done. You understand? So there's no basis for anybody going back
we should collect the money.
But Samari, the court has asked that they should refund everything. Everything.
That is the money. That is the judgment. That is the judgment.
No, Samari, you are confusing. This is not the Warrior 51 million. No. This is about euros.
You don't want me to contribute to the program.
No, Samari, I simply cannot sit here and countenance the propagation of falsehood. It simply cannot take place on this platform. But it is not. Samari, just listen. Samari, this is not the 51 million judgment they're giving to Woyumen. We are talking about 25 million euros that the court has asked for an unconditional refund. Very simple.
Part was paid by
include
the
money. The 11 million euros paid by the MPP.
You see, the
basis of that payment, according to the court, is even illegal.
Between the MPP government and Waterville, the MOU, it was 22 million euros to be paid. About 22 million euros. And MPP out of that paid 11.9, almost 12 million. And then the balance of the 9 million
accumulated interest also
was paid by the NDC government. And both money, that's the 25 that was agreed between the NPP government and Waterville, is what the court is saying is wrong and must be refunded.
Because it lacks legal foundation, Samari. If you are there, I hope you are listening. Okay, Samari, I'm sure that when you do have the chance, you can call in back so you be educated and enlightened. I have Joseph on the line. Hello, Joseph. Hello, Joseph. Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Joseph.
Yeah.
You should be my last caller.
Good evening to your viewers.
Good evening.
Yeah. On the issue of the court case, we those that are actually following it have come to realize that because if we say you submitted 11,842 pink sheets that constitute 11,842 polling stations, and at the count of the KPMG, you came out with
13,900, and when they were sorted out, it was less. I mean, where then lies your case?
Indeed.
And if Atugube's boxes are 24, and what KPMG counted earlier, were up to 31, because 24 plus 7, that gives you 31 pink sheets. That tells you that what Chachu is saying, that a registrar's pink sheets or boxes are compromised, is very true, and he must answer for it.
Absolutely.
He must be held responsible.
I agree with you.
Because they are wasting the time of all Ghanaians.
Yes, I think it's about time some people from registry. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, they have to actually let him answer for it.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm running out of time, unfortunately.
No.
I
see a confusion even in the minds of the lead counsel for the MPP. The confusion is simply this. You have a situation where he led Baumia to actually talk about the ballot accounting.
Yes.
Now, in doing so, he relied solely on the face of the pink sheet.
Yes.
And you have also ballots used during the election, that is during the special voting. And according to him, he was telling the court that the Electoral Commission shouldn't have actually used pink sheet in respect of that particular special voting. Okay. Now, the question I want to find out is, if ballot accounting is such critical matter that should actually even merit annulment of an election results, why is he saying that the ballot used during special vote should not be accounted for?
What? It just the contradiction is
you see
too much. I just don't get it.
According to him, during after the special voting is counted, according to him, the figure or the declaration is transferred to the coalition form. Now, the coalition form doesn't actually give the actual accounting of the ballot. You understand? So, in the case of problems, how do you even account for the number of ballots used during special voting? So, I'm sure those who are following them and those who actually sit somewhere and think that the MPP has a case, I am saying on authority that this case, if the MPP is able to even prove any of their allegation, one of it, I will walk from Accra to my hometown, Boku. I am telling you that it is extremely impossible. It's just like the way a camel will enter into the hole of a needle. It is extremely impossible, and I'm saying that it is a waste of people's time. And I think that what motivates Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to go to court is not because indeed he wanted just to show that he's democratic, but because he has actually a lot of money he has to pay that he has loaned from people.
So
and he thinks that this court will actually, this court case will actually give him some time, reprieve, so that at least he can gather resources and be able to refund. And he thinks that as the court
he
case
revises his notes,
he would go and tell them that I did not lose the case.
Counsel, my information is that lawyer Addison is the executive director also, or chairman. Executive chairman of a CP. But isn't that contrary to the legal profession?
If he's the executive chairman of that company, I have also heard something like that, but I can't prove that. But myself, I think if that is the case, it should be taken out, because it's against the ethics of the profession to be the executive chairman of a company whilst you are a practicing lawyer. Okay. That is the law.
Oh, then indeed, if this allegation is true, he has something.
I have heard it myself. Some rumors on that, but I don't know whether it is true. But if it is true, it's against the ethics of the profession. Okay. Now, number two, you see,
briefly, just in a minute.
The pin sheets.
We're running.
If after everything, it turns out to be 9,000, it means that if the case is not thrown out, and even the petitions are given the opportunity to continue the case, they have to repackage
everything.
That means that their pleadings and everything will change.
And the deadline would have passed.
So when we get to the bridge, we shall see what happens. Okay. Now, if you have a case in court, and you need to prove, you see, there are two issues to prove here. Whether or not there were irregularities, there were malpractice and whatever. Now, and then the second leg is whether or not they affected the. Addison has not even been able to prove the first leg.
He's dealing with the contracts.
There were irregularities.
He's asking about contracts.
That was the effect on the. And then you see that you're talking about financial. Are you the Attorney General?
Okay. Clearly, thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Clearly, it looks like the MPP legal team needs some revision of their legal notes and strategy. And the information also reaching me is that this MPP have issued a statement saying they don't even need the 11,000 after all. They only can rely on 1,005.
But they cannot amend their pleadings.
They need to take us serious, at least. If they don't take the NDC, they need to take the people of Ghana serious. You cannot be amending your plea when you are at the twilight of the case. This is most ridiculous. And thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the show. I'll be here on Thursday, God willing. As for the calls that comes with threatening messages, we'll continue to receive them. I will put them on records. Meet here on Thursday. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.